What would an innovation science look like? And the first part is just getting the problem right. So just picking up on what Craig was saying earlier, we'd make life an awful lot easier for ourselves if we solved the right problem in the first place. So the right insight. Then we'll have a quick look at the right solution. And then the final part will be, once we've had the idea, turning the idea into the money. And again, that fits with my definition of innovation. I'm interested in two things really. I'm interested in a step change, and I'm interested in then successful deployment of that. So I make money, in other words. We're very lucky. As part of this research that we've been doing, we've been very fortunate to work with some of the best companies on the planet. Absolutely agree with Craig from earlier. Someone somewhere has solved your problem. Let's have a think about how that might work. Here's a case study, one that we worked on a couple of years ago with a company in Southeast Asia. The problem, well, it's very quickly becomes a chemistry problem. It's the problem of getting gas from out of the ocean bed, and particularly very low quality gas. So I've got my methane, but it's also got a lot of either hydrogen sulfide, or it's got a lot of carbon dioxide in it. Now, as soon as I express the problem of how do I get that gas out of the bottom of the ocean, and how do I separate the CO2 from the bit that I actually wanted, then psychological inertia says you've just created yourself a chemistry problem. Just saying the words carbon dioxide means this problem is going to go to the chemists. Okay? And if you give a chemist that problem, what they're going to do for you is think about all the ways that chemists would separate methane from CO2. And the first thing they're going to do is bring it all up from the bottom of the ocean and build an enormous ship like that with several $1 million worth of plant on it to do the job. Okay. And then they would start worrying about, okay, well, I've now separated the methane from the CO2. What do I do with all the CO2? Horribly, for some time, they've just vented it to atmosphere. Now they've got to put it all the way back down to the bottom of the ocean. I'm not a chemist. And so as soon as I see a problem like that, I start thinking about, okay, is there another way to solve this problem? Yeah. And for me, rather than being a carbon dioxide problem, it's a problem of a gas with one density versus a gas with a different density. How would I separate two gases with different densities? And as soon as I've reframed the problem like that, then I can suddenly find there's a whole bunch of solutions to that problem. Chemists don't know about, the chemists will never go and find actually. Okay. And as a consequence of that, you end up with a little box like this that costs a few tens of thousands of dollars, instead of a few $1 million dollars. You put it at the bottom of the ocean so the CO2 never comes up to the surface. The point being that we need to get outside our domain and go and look for somebody else who's had an equivalent problem.